Hello and welcome to another episode of Inspired Women Gathering Show. This is a show that talks about all things from life, relationships, spirituality, business, and everything in between. Women are so inspiring, living through their stories, finding resilience, resourcefulness, tenacity, and the powerful impact that we make in the world. I love connecting and having deep conversations, sharing with you the women I am inspired by and so blessed to know. My name is Dixie Bennett, and I am your host, I'm a soulful women and wealth coach and healer, helping heart-centered entrepreneurial women heal their self-worth, embody their soul purpose, and create sustainable business with heart. And I created this platform to highlight amazing women who I come across and connect with. I hope you enjoy them as much as I do. And I'm so excited to introduce to you my beautiful guest, Vikki MacKinnon. And our topic today is how numbers shape your reality. Vikki is an intuitive numerologist, author, international speaker, and life purpose coach. Her passion is helping people gain greater understanding of themselves, their potential, their relationships, and their journey, and giving them a greater sense of authentic personal power. She has prepared numerology profiles for individual clients across North America, Britain, Ireland, Japan, and the Middle East. As founder of the Born to Thrive Numerology Course and the Advanced Numerology Mentorship program, Vikki has taught and mentored aspiring numerologists in Canada since 2008. She also has trained numerologists in Japan from 2008 to 2010. Vikki has appeared on radio shows and has been interviewed for CBC Newsworld and Ottawa Metro News. Her groundbreaking book, Make Today Count, Take Charge of Your Time and Your Life with Numerology, was released in August of 2017. Thank you so much, Vikki, for being with us today. I'm so delighted to have you here.
Oh, it's such a pleasure, Dixie. I'm very excited about this.
Thank you. And I love your book. It's one of my on the shelf, quick to grab. I refer back to it all the time. So thank you for bringing that out into the world.
That's my pleasure. It's always very rewarding to know that people find it useful and relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that you love numbers, and I have learned so much from you over the years and continue to grow into my numbers and understanding them. And so I'm excited to sit down with you today and we'll really dive into the numerology world and how numbers can serve us. But first, I'd love for you to dive in and just start to share a little bit about your background. How did you fall into numerology? A little bit about your backstory of how you came to be here and now.
Okay, so I've always been, right from the beginning, I think as far back as I can remember, I've always had an interest in metaphysics, spirituality, healing, this whole realm. And I was like right from childhood, I was deep and, quite philosophical. And of course, because of that, I felt like an outsider and didn't have very good self-esteem in those days. And, so by the time I was, in my early 30s, I was a busy young mom with two beautiful boys, a 9-year-old and a 2-year-old, and a busy and demanding career as a school teacher, and an abusive husband who was pretty much giving me the kind of treatment that I felt that I deserved. I didn't feel very worthy in those days, and I had no dreams of my own and no reason to believe that things could change. Actually, I didn't feel worthy of anything different. And, I didn't know who I was. I did not believe that I had any gifts to share with the world. And I had no idea that I was supposed to be getting something out of my marriage and out of my life, that I was supposed to feel happy and fulfilled. I really thought I was here to solve problems and meet expectations and please people. So that one, just escaped me, that I could enjoy life along the way for myself. And, I believe, like many people do, that we always meet the right people at the right time in our life and for the right reason. And that you never know when you meet someone, the role that that person's going to play in your life, or the impact that you might have on theirs. And I'm going way back. I'm revealing my age here. So 1981 was a really important year for me. That's 39 years ago now.
Yeah.
I had my oldest boy in a group music class, and I would go to the music class once a week with him. And there was a lady there that I got to know, a lady named Florence. And you know how it is when you meet with your kindred spirits, you know, there's always so much to talk about, and the time always passes quickly. And that's the way it was when I met Florence. And one day she wanted to know my birth date.
Mm.
And I was, you know, a little bit surprised. And I was even more surprised when she wrote it down and started adding it up. And then she proceeded to give me a whole bunch of information about me. And I thought this was really cool. She told me that she had taken a course in something called numerology. So I signed up for the same course, and it just called to me in the most profound way, like nothing I'd ever experienced before. I was just amazed at two little facts, your name and your birth date, could open the door to such a wealth of knowledge and insight about, you know, who we are, who we're becoming, what we're meant to experience here, and what we're meant to contribute. And so through this lovely kindred spirit that I met, the universe had opened this door for me that would eventually allow me to develop a whole new set of beliefs about myself and my journey.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it didn't happen overnight because there was a lot to do. It was a process. But the important thing is that the door was opened. And it was about 4 years after that. Yeah, it was 4 years after that that my marriage, I always say, it came off life support. And our daughter had arrived by then. So I was a single mom with 3 children. I had a young teenager, little boy just starting school, and a toddler still in diapers, and a full-time teaching career. But the worst thing of all was that my husband didn't want me. Right. And I felt like a failure and a social outcast. So that was pretty hard to accept. I just felt that there was disgrace and stigma around me. So actually a couple of things happened at that time. The first thing that happened was that I became aware, I realized that this was such a critically important time for myself and my kids, and that I wanted all 3 of them, and especially my daughter, to see a strong, capable, independent woman. I knew that they would be watching me and learning by example, and it was important for me to be strong for them. And I found out that I had that strength within. Right. And certainly connecting with my numbers, reviewing my numbers assisted me with that. So the other thing that happened at that time was that I made a promise to myself and the universe. After being with someone for 15 years with someone who needed to hurt and diminish me, I promised that I would make the most of every opportunity to help people feel good about who they are, what they contribute, and what life can hold for them. And I didn't realize at the time that this would be, you know, such an integral part of my life's work. I just simply believed that the world is a better place when we lift each other up.
Yeah, I so agree. And what a journey that to be on. And so going from that energy of feeling disgraced and feeling like you didn't belong and leaving your marriage. So what did how did numerology really shift that perspective for you?
Well, what had happened when I was first introduced to it, I was just so excited to do numerology for my kids, my husband, and everybody else. And I hadn't really taken a really good, hard, close look at me and you know, really done the work on myself. And so I dug out the numerology books again, and I just started reviewing. I looked at the qualities of my name to find out more about me and the gifts that I had to bring. I looked at my date aspects, and I discovered my karmic lessons. Well, I knew what they were. I had touched base on that before, but just really started to think about them, to probe into them. And I could see how the universe had propelled me into this situation where I was going to really make major advances with these karmic lessons. I looked at my date aspects and did some of the projections, some of the forecasting that's involved with that. And by golly, the date aspects indicated that there would be a second husband and that there would be travel overseas. And I thought, well, yes, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
That was encouraging. Then the other thing was that I found, in addition to all of this deep work that I'd done and all this insight that I gained about who I was and who other key figures in my life were, I started to find that tracking the numbers of my temporary vibrations, my personal year, my personal month, my personal day, was really helping me to be proactive, was really helping me to be more effective, I felt, at running my life and running my personal and my professional life. It was kind of like, in addition to being a tool for understanding my relationship and myself and others around me, it became a system that I could follow to help me to be more proactive. There was a lot of work in those days, you know, running a classroom and running a household with 3 kids.
Well, and also accessibility. So, because we have the internet now, we have so much more information at our fingertips.
Yes.
And so, going back to the lady that introduced you to numerology, did she then become your teacher, or at what point did you decide that you were going to dive in and become more of a practitioner with it?
Well, once I had learned it, it became a passion for me, and obviously, I thought when we have a passion, we like to follow it along, kind of thing. But I really wasn't quite there yet. I had 3 kids, and I had a reliable career, and I loved the kids, and I loved teaching. So it really wasn't an option at that time. I needed something more stable, you know. And it wasn't until 2002 that I took early retirement, and I was able to delve into this world. I'd been taking workshops and doing a lot of reading all along, especially after my divorce. I started reading a lot of books on spirituality and self-help and self-improvement. I used to say, you know, I figured I only had about 3 more books to go and I'd be perfect. But somehow I never found the right 3 books, I guess. You know, it's still a work in progress.
Yeah.
But anyway, so after all that reading, you know, and delving into that, and I used to think, oh, I would really, really enjoy doing this work. And once I got older, it seemed like it would be much nicer to sit with adults one-on-one than with children, you know, 30 to 1.
So tell me a little bit more about like like I know since I met you, and we met like pretty much close to 9 years ago, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think actually, Dixie, I think it was 10 years ago. It was 2010.
Yeah, it was, yeah, somewhere around there, because I was just started networking because I was launching my business at that time.
Yeah.
And you were one of the first people that I probably met when I was out actually networking and building my business, and we connected immediately as kindred spirits, I always felt. And I always love when you talk about numerology because I feel like you come alive, and it's definitely such a powerful passion that you have. And even just, I remember, even as you were talking about when you first got introduced to numerology, that's when I first got introduced to numerology. And you presented me with this beautiful book. I mean, it wasn't a book, but it was just kind of like my life. You spent all this beautiful time preparing, my numerology story, basically. And I still have, I pretty much have every copy over the years that we've had conversations, and that's my birthday gift to myself is when I sit down and do my numerology with you. And it's really helped me just understand and have a deeper connection to my birth date, to my name, and to the energy. We've done the energy of my business. We've done the energy of other ideas and other businesses endeavors and that kind of thing. And so I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about why the numbers are so important and the energy behind the numbers.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people don't realize that numbers are centers of energy. We
Mm-hmm.
tend to think we see them all around us every day, and we think there's squiggly little lines, and we know what a 6 is, and we know what a 3 is, and so on and so forth. But what numbers really are is they are powerful centers of energy. They're great cosmic forces, really, that come with lessons and blessings and gifts and requirements, and they shape our reality. They affect every part of our life every day and in every way.
Mm-hmm.
And they can lead us to our highest level of fulfillment, of integrity.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
So
I think too, like when I think of numbers, just as you were talking, I was just kind of I'm like looking around me at the numbers around me. So I've got a calendar, I've
yeah.
got my phone, I've got my computer. Like there's numbers around me in every way.
Oh,
um, you know,
absolutely.
but we tend to think of numbers as a form of measurement, right? It's like measuring what day are we on in the calendar? What date is it? And what time do I need to be somewhere?
Yeah.
Um, and then we're just everything that I look around is all measurements of time. So
Yeah.
when we
Yeah.
think of numerology and the essence of the energy around it, I mean, it's almost a measurement of time because it goes back to my birth date. It goes back to even just the names that I was given in my birth.
Yeah.
Um, I'd love for you to talk just a little bit more about how does that relate to time? Like, is there any
How
correlation?
does it relate to time?
Yeah.
Well, we use that's another application of numbers, if you will. We absolutely use it for quantifying and for
Mhm.
measurement, for location and identification. Um, and, and essentially, numbers are older than language. Numbers
Mhm.
existed before language.
Interesting.
And to me, they are, some people would say spiritual entities. I'm putting
Mhm.
myself out on a limb there.
Yeah.
Um, with regards to time, obviously we need something to measure our time. It's a human construct,
Hmm.
and the numbers are unseen entities that you know we've had to turn them into that, or we've had to give them that function of measurement.
Right.
I'm sorry, I can't. It's to be
No, that's
honest,
okay.
it's
Well,
not
yeah.
something I've ever really considered. I'm going to have to think on that one.
Yeah, sorry to stump you there. I was just as I was just thinking about, I'm like, wow, I just had this epiphany. I'm just like, wow, we're surrounded by numbers, but what do the numbers really mean? And even just, when people are seeing 111 and 333 and 1111, 555, because even that, it's in our time, it's all related to time, but yet they're numbers that also offer a different energy of meaning.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, I think I'm getting what you mean now. So certainly we look at the clocks, and I get a lot of people asking me, I keep seeing this, I keep seeing that number, and that kind of thing. So definitely when those numbers pop up, and certainly since the advent of the digital clocks, they've been around for a long time now, but when we're seeing numbers more readily than when we used to see the minute hand going around the circle kind of thing.
Mhm.
And certainly there's absolutely significance about that. Each of the numbers represents a different type of energy. Each of the numbers represents maybe a different area on our wheel of life, on our circle of life. And definitely when we see certain numbers on our clock or on the calendar or on a license plate and that kind of thing, absolutely, if you've noticed it, it's because the universe has brought your attention to it and it has a message for you. So, you know, in a nutshell, we would say a 1 would be about new beginnings, a 2 would be about feminine energy and intuition, a 3 would be about creativity and expression, a 4, well, lots to talk about there when we get talking about 2020, but essentially work and grounded energy. 5, about change and variety. 6 would be family and community and loved ones, duty, responsibility. 7, again, about intuition and spirituality. 8 would be about financial success and leadership. And 9 is about compassion. Okay, so that's, those are just, you know, there's so much more for each of
Oh, I
those.
know. Yeah, but those are just a nice little quick introduction to what each of the numbers kind of represent.
Yeah.
So why don't we just dive into 2020? What is, because the energy of 2020 is so interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I just explain a little bit
Yes,
about what
please.
numerology is first?
Yes,
Because
please do.
I talked briefly on numbers, so I sort of divided up into 2, the numbers and then numerology itself, it being an ancient and accurate science. And, you know, it's so much more than your life path. It's so much more than going online and putting in my day, my month, my year, and oh golly, I'm an 8, you know, kind of thing. We all have several different numbers in our profile, and each of those numbers can support and intensify or balance or conflict with each other. So I look at numerology as a framework for your sacred contract. It's a tool for understanding yourself and others. It's a forecasting device for forecasting upcoming opportunities and experiences. Not fortune telling, so not fortune telling, but forecasting the type of energy, the nature of these experiences. And it's about, it's a way of helping you find your path of least resistance. I think of it as I think of it as a life skill. And one of the things about using that life skill is that it can help you to understand current circumstances. So right now, we are all, I don't believe it's probably not since World War II has there ever been such an event that would impact on the whole world the way this pandemic has. We have the energy of 2020. We have basically, of course, 2020 adds up to a 4. And so the 4, and we've all gone through a 4 calendar year before. 2011 was a 4 calendar year. 2002 was a 4 calendar year. But 2020, wow. Basically, the 4 is about external limitations. It very much brings external limitations, and it can often bring rigid thinking and be very polarizing. And we're seeing that not just with the pandemic, but with the crisis in racism and other things that are going on in the world right now. But when that 4 comes along, our mindset very often goes to things like survival and long-term stability. And we've been very much in that mindset in this year since the beginning. The 4 is also about actions and consequences, effort and results. It's about process and solutions, and certainly we're having to go through the process now to find the solution for this crisis. It's about discipline and accountability. We've all had to discipline ourselves this way. It's about authority and rules. I'm thinking about how, you know, I don't recall ever in my life feeling so impacted by decisions that the government made on
Right.
my behalf. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's about organization and laying foundations as well. So we're all dealing with that, and we're just feeling very much constricted, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
by the limitations that have been placed upon us at this time. But having said that, I don't believe that any number is a bad number. I don't believe that there is any such thing as a good number or a bad number. Numbers are centers of energy, and that we can use them in positive and life affirming ways. We can use that energy, or we can use that energy in ways that diminish us and diminish
Mm-hmm.
like quality of life for others as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah. So what would be some of the teachings that we could strengthen with the number 4 in 2020?
Okay, number 4 is very much basically it's physical energy. Each of the numbers will have will feature a different kind of energy. So both number 4 and 5 are physical energies,
Okay.
and so one of the things that we can do when we're being visited by the number 4 is to focus on our own personal health, things like nutrition and exercise and anything that will enhance our personal physical well-being.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that we do in a positive way does ripple out
Right.
to the world and to the universe. It's a time for us to strengthen our body and our mind. 4 can really help us to add strength, to build strength, you
Mm-hmm.
know, as I said, body and mind. The other thing that's I think is beautiful about 4 is that this is the number of Mother Earth. So
Mm-hmm.
connecting with nature. I write an article every year at the beginning of the year. Usually I write it at the end of December, just to explain the nature of the energy of the upcoming year and some of the proactive choices that we can make. And I
Mm-hmm.
actually went over that article again just a few days ago, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm seeing some of this. Like one of the things I suggested is that I thought that people would probably be looking at getting back into nature, and that gardening might be something that
Right.
people
Yeah.
would be wanting to do. And certainly that I think there's been a lot more interest, certainly from when I've been looking
Huge.
at Facebook and
Mm-hmm.
on the news and that sort of thing. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people putting time and effort into growing their own food,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and creating a garden, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's really beautiful. And there is nothing more grounding than working in the soil. There's nothing um, more healthy. I don't think anything healthier for us than
Right.
connecting with Mother Earth that way. And organizing our home. It's about organizing and getting systems and routines. And certainly a lot of us have had a lot of extra time at home to perhaps do some decluttering and some organizing that way, get some systems
Mm-hmm.
and finding a place for everything and everything in its place kind of thing. It's very much a base camp year.
Right.
It's
Interesting.
a year that will assist you with productivity as
Mm-hmm.
well. The 4 likes you to take those ideas, many of them that come up in the 1, 2, and 3 year, and bring them into concrete reality.
Yeah, powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, and
yeah.
I couldn't agree more because I think, especially seeing how everyone has been forced into their home over this period of time, and children, families working from home, school from home, you know,
Yes.
right down to the basics of even cooking. And it's been interesting watching people, even in my circles, sharing recipes again,
Yeah.
and going back to being creative with, just buying all the pieces to create these beautiful recipes, baking to, wholesome meals. And, it's not just the quick fix of running out and grabbing something. I mean, although that still exists, But there's definitely been just a deeper calling back home.
Oh, I
Everything.
totally agree. I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. And paying attention to the nutritional value of
Yes.
what you're buying too.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I know my husband and I, we went for probably about 3 months or more without getting out to a restaurant, even for a takeout meal.
Yeah, powerful. I know. I think I went about 4 weeks without even like leaving the house to buy anything. Uh,
Wow.
really taking in and you know taking stock of what I had, and it's like, do I really need to go out? I don't think so. And I got creative and made some really cool, even just different forms of pancakes from the ingredients that I had local, and
Oh,
just got reinvigorated around the creativity of really honoring what I had in my home.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, I know for myself, I found myself looking up recipes on the internet. I'd spend hours just looking at the
Yeah,
different recipes that were available. So,
yeah, I knew appreciate.
and very much working with food, working with grains
Mm-hmm.
and vegetables, very four activities.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so cool. I love all of that.
Mhm.
And so, we're just kind of at the halfway mark in this 4 energy year. And as the seasons change as well, like we're just in the summer months, but going to the last half of the year, how do you feel the 4 will start playing out?
Okay, I'm really glad you asked that because what I like to tell people about the energy of a year. So
Hmm.
we're talking about the energy of our global year. We also have personal years, which we can talk about later. But the way I put it out to people is, you know how the moon is full halfway through its cycle, okay?
Hmm.
And the energy of our global year is full halfway through
Hmm.
our year. And we are just what, 8 days past the halfway mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So the energy has peaked now. I don't see that we're in by no means out of the woods with this
Mhm.
pandemic yet. We all have to pay attention to the higher authorities. We all have to pay attention to the medical officers and the people that are, and thank goodness here in Canada we have got good people that have stepped up and taken leadership,
Mhm.
and we have to pay attention to that. But we've noticed here in Canada also, and other countries that have followed suit, like New Zealand, for example, that it has paid off to follow these protocols. And
Mhm.
we've noticed that we've been able to, quote, flatten the curve and make some real progress that way. Um, so in a sense, I think people are feeling a little easier. We also know more about what we're dealing with now. When we were going into this
Mhm.
in March or even prior to
February,
March,
March, yeah.
we,
Mhm.
there may have been a lot more fear then. I think there what probably was because we didn't know what we were dealing with. But thankfully, we've got really good scientists and medical professionals that have been
Mhm.
helping us with it
Mhm.
as well and doing the research and making the observations.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah,
Powerful.
yeah. So then we'll go into 2021.
Mhm.
And what we have there is the dynamic energy of number five.
Right.
So, number five, what number five does is it brings us change when we need it most.
Mm.
Okay. It tends to be a number that we associate with freedom and independence. That can be a good thing. And in our current political climate, it could also mean that there could be some um, distressing instances of people um, really, you know, wanting to take it into their own hands. And we're
Mhm.
seeing it already, some people that just don't want to comply with any rules and protocols. Oh,
Mhm.
by the way, I meant to say too that number four is about borders and boundaries. And
All right.
we absolutely know how critical that is
Yeah,
right now
for
as
sure.
well. Um, the number five energy is about the freedom, the independence, the change, and it's more about movement. It's a very dynamic energy. Both 4 and 5, by the way, are physical numbers.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the 5 is very much about, it's going to be about movement. It's going to be about people coming together, wanting to come together more. And it tends to open some things up. So it could be, I know that when this first started, we were talking about the vaccine being maybe as far as 3 years away. I'm sensing that the 5 energy that we're going into in January, that by then we'll probably be very close, if not having a vaccine, we'll be close to having it.
Right.
You
Wow.
know? Yeah. It's also a number of language and communication. So there's going to be we're given a wealth of information. We're all on information overload all the time about everything, but particularly about this. And so certainly there's going to be even more information coming out, even more news coming out that, you know, maybe some of it will be distressing, and hopefully a lot of it will be encouraging as well.
Well, and I think we're seeing a lot of that now in, you know, a lot of the things that are happening around racism being brought forward to evaluate communities and groups, and you know, the peaceful walks that are happening to the right. I mean, there's lots of groups and gatherings, and I think there's just a lot of change that's going to happen, and maybe there will be more of that change to be solidified in the 5 year. Does that feel?
I'm sorry, I'm having just a little bit of difficulty hearing you, but
I was just talking about how there's so many different groups and dynamics that are happening already now, you know, with a lot of the things coming to the surface around racism and you know, the political changes, and leading in, you know, we're at that halfway mark where you said that we're at the peak of the 4 year, and now it's kind of like laying the foundation for the changes we might then start to see in the 5.
yeah, absolutely. And the month of July brings us 11 energy to our month. So in addition to our global year energy of 4, which is sort of overriding everything, it's the context in which we proceed through the year. But we have the energy of 11, which is a master number. Most of the time we work with numbers 1 to 9, but we also work with master numbers. And the number 11 will bring accelerated developments, unexpected events, and definitely similar to the 5, it will also bring change and open some things up. It's a number that we associate with illumination, enlightenment, idealism, and yeah, illumination, enlightenment, idealism, and new developments. So.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see that, and I do have a sense of things opening up. We're basically, I sense that July, August, and September could be very dynamic months for us.
Beautiful. So yeah, let's dive into a little bit more about how do you figure out your personal day?
Oh, well, as you know from my book, Make Today Count, I meant to bring a book here and show it. But anyway, from my book, I put a lot of emphasis on the personal day, because we have, I think a lot of people don't realize, and I have to go back to the personal year to put it all into context. So all our lives we live and learn and grow in cycles of 9. So we have 9 personal years. We also have 9 personal months, and we have 9 personal days. And those are different. So the calendar year starts on January 1st, and that gives us our global energy of 2020. The calendar month started on July 1st. Yeah, the calendar year starts on January 1st. The calendar month started on July 1st. And then we have individual the individual days as well. But we also have a personal year and a personal month and a personal day. And I discovered when I was teaching that the personal year and the personal month and day were really, really important. And so when I wrote my book, I started out by explaining the importance of a personal year, which is it helps to give you a sense of focus for your year. It helps you to understand current situations, current circumstances, and it also helps you to see the nature of the progression and how these circumstances can progress in your life. To me, when you know how numbers work and how you can work with numbers, it can take you from that place of pain or uncertainty to greater sense of peace of mind and allowing divine timing in your life. So I started the book by explaining about the importance of a personal year, and that helps people to forecast. And then from there, you determine your personal month. So Dixie, you are in an 8 personal year right now. And with your birthday being on September 5th, you will go to a 9 personal year. So you're in an 8 personal year. To determine your personal month, we would take that number 8 from your year and add it to the calendar month, which is 7. So we add 8 plus 7. So that's how we work out your personal month. And that's just kind of like a little mini destiny for your month, where the focus might be. This year, or this month for you, is a 6 personal month. Do you see how I got that?
Yeah. So
8 plus 7, 15, and 15 is a 6. So the emphasis here on relationships and perhaps personal space and personal healing and responsibilities. Okay. And so this is July the 8th. So this is how we work out your personal day. So we find your, again, going back, find your personal year, that being an 8, personal month being a 6, this being the 8th day of that month, so we add 6 plus 8. Okay. Add personal year to calendar month to get your personal month. Add personal month to calendar day to get your personal day. So you're in a 5 personal day, which is a good day for communication, but there could be some surprises along the way too. And not always do things turn out the way we expect them to in a 5-year month or day. Okay.
Oh,
and
interesting. Well,
certainly,
and there's been some communication surprises that have shown up today.
Yes, well, exactly. And this being an 11 year or an 11 global month and we're still on the end of Mercury retrograde as well. That goes until the 12th. So so communications is definitely a thing right now. And I was just going to say that to me, reading numerology books, I found that very few of the authors would mention the fact that we have a personal day number, and that if they did, that it would be very brief, maybe a couple of sentences, a short little paragraph, and that would be about all. And to me, it's the days of our lives that are the most important. And that's not to slam the other authors by any means. I just feel that maybe the universe was waiting for me to expand on that. It's the days of our lives that really create the growth, sometimes the drama, sometimes the excitement, the breakthroughs. It's the days of our lives that we often remember, and specifically moments in our day, So I really wanted to show people how they can work proactively. Because again, it's about making those numbers work for you,
Yeah, no, I so appreciate that. And I think I've found your book and your work has shared more information on the personal day. I have another colleague of mine, and we talk a lot about our personal day, and she also adds in the element of color.
Okay, excellent.
And then I found Louise Hay's book, Numerology with Color. So how to
Yes.
dress and activate. And I don't follow it all the time, but I definitely have noticed when I start paying more attention to where is my energy in the personal day. And even just today, having this conversation brought a little bit more light to my life, in the energy of five for that personal day. And
Yeah.
I do feel when I start to look at those pieces, like, oh, I just find it gives me peace. It gives me peace
Oh,
in my
it
heart to
does.
know that, to understand, just a little bit more about what's going on when I can't tangibly figure it out, and then I can surrender into it and then allow it to shift.
It's like I'm not going crazy, and
Yeah.
this too will pass,
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. Just helps you to become patient with the process, to understand the process, and to help you to realize that the universe is taking you step by step, day by day, to your highest good, if you just allow it to.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly, it helps to know the personal days as well. If there are things that you're planning, what's the day? What's the best day for me to leave for that trip? What's the
Mm-hmm.
best day for me to do a book launch or
Mm-hmm.
launch a program? What's the best day um, to go live with my website or whatever you do? Yeah, bring
Yeah.
out a new service or product or program.
That's so powerful. So
Oh
how,
yeah, it's got a lot of applications in business for
oh,
sure,
for sure.
as
Yeah.
well as in personal life.
Mm-hmm. Well, and to me, it all kind of blends. It's all the pieces that make the part of the whole. I love how you said it's about the days of your life, the days of our lives, right?
Yeah.
And integrating that into business, relationships,
Oh yeah.
personal days, career, finances. I think there's so many different moving parts that can help bring a little bit more light to it, to the decisions, and understanding how it's playing out.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
So I'd love to hear just from you, like so because numerology is such a big part, and what are some of your daily rituals that you kind of actively sit down and partake in every day?
I'm sorry. So
What what are some of your like your daily rituals that you take in to keep your vibration high, to take care of yourself, along with numerology and anything else that you might incorporate?
well, I do a lot of reading and I take a lot of inspiration from the books that I've read and from studying and learning. And I'm a lifelong learner.
Mm-hmm.
That would be that's an important part of a daily ritual. I get out for walks as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Having some sciatica issues here, so that's kind of cramped my style a little bit, but that's all right. We'll get a handle on that.
Mm-hmm.
And giving gratitude is huge.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of each day, I like to set a positive intention for myself and for others around me and for anybody that I'm going to be seeing or speaking to that day,
Mm-hmm.
um, and give gratitude at the end of the day. I spent many years of my life kind of rushing around in the mornings, getting myself ready and the kids ready for school and that kind of thing, and then
Mm-hmm.
going to school so my mornings, I'm afraid to say I'm sorry to say I'm not really a morning person. So my mornings involve coming out to my recliner and sitting by my big window, and my husband brings me a cup of coffee. I've got him well trained.
I like
And
that.
yeah, but I do read. I read a lot, and I'll spend my mornings doing the reading,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and I make sure that I have a lot of quiet time throughout the day, sometimes for meditation
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, and
So,
sometimes for writing. Yeah.
mm-hmm. Beautiful. Well, we're just coming to the end of our time. And so just any last minute advice on how people can use numerology to benefit them, or, just any tips that you could share for people to really walk away with from today.
Well, I would say if you'd like to look at my Facebook page, it's called Know Your Numbers. It's on Facebook. I do answer questions there. So if anybody has a question for me, absolutely let me know through that Facebook page. I don't have a website anymore, but definitely let me know through that Facebook page. And one of the things that I do every day is there is a birthday forecast, a detailed birthday forecast. So if your birthday is July 8th, you click on my Know Your Numbers page and you'll see your forecast for the year. Or whatever day your birthday is. This goes on all year. I'll answer questions on it as well. I highly recommend that you find out as much as you can about your personal numbers. This is your sacred contract. This will show you where your strengths lie and help you to feel a lot more confident in yourself and your abilities. There's numerous books available, my own included, if you wanted to get in touch with me that way. If you feel so inclined that you'd like to take a course, I highly recommend that, to learn as much as you can about how those numbers are impacting your life. I also have a book, a booklet, complimentary report that I designed for my website, which is now gone because of strange things that happened in the universe this year. But anyway, I have a complimentary report with the same name as this episode, by the way. It's called How Numbers Shape Your Life. And in that report, I show people how to work out their birth date, how to work out their life path number, the indication of what it means when you're seeing numbers around you, like keep seeing 555 everywhere I go, it's driving me crazy. Well, what does that mean, kind of thing. And how the numbers shape your beliefs as well, and some beliefs that will help you to empower your life based on the numbers. Everything, to me, everything relates to numbers. So I'm happy. And again, all they need to do is contact me through that Facebook page, Know Your Numbers. And I'm happy to, if they send me an email address, happy to send out that complimentary booklet for them.
Beautiful. Awesome, Vikki. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I just enjoy your energy and I enjoy learning more from you. I always pick up little tidbits of information, even still today, always learning more, and especially going deeper into the numbers and how they play out for us.
Oh, thank you so much, Dixie, and all the best to you and all of your viewers. And
thank you.
Yeah, keep strong.
And to all of our viewers who are watching today, I just hope that you found some value today, some things that you can apply, or some curiosity around numerology that you might want to dive into. I'd love, for you to continue the conversation. If you'd like to join my Facebook group, it's called Inspired Women Gathering, where we can inspiring women are connecting who want to continue to grow their business and deepen into, connecting with other leaders who are leading the way and making changes and impacts in the world. So, and, feel free to comment, share it out, and, until next time, just be the light and the love in the world, and abundant love. Thank you so much for being here. Bye for now.